Welcome to my gardening journey. I'm John and welcome to my channel. On this channel I show you all of the things that I'm getting up to in my garden, all of the learning I'm doing, and I share that with you here on YouTube. So if you're interested in gardening, please consider subscribing, liking this video and leaving a comment down below. Tomatoes are a great plant to be growing in your garden. They produce a huge amount of fruits each year and they're just great for new gardeners and experienced gardeners alike. I sowed my tomato seeds in trays in early March, maybe late February, here under glass in my greenhouse. But very quickly they'll outgrow the seed trays that I've sown them in. So there comes a time when that seedling needs to be transplanted from the seed tray into a bigger pot of its own so that it can carry on growing and get us a really good root ball ready for planting out later on in the year. Ideally, you want to put on your tomato plant when it's still quite young and it has its first set of leaves on. That way, it hasn't created a massive root bundle for you to have to unknit from other tomato plants that it's growing next to. It can be transplanted without unduly disturbing those roots and giving it a really good opportunity to grow on in their new pot. But don't worry if you haven't done that and you haven't done it in time, much like I am today. I'm a bit late. If you've got more mature plants, all you need to do is just be that little bit more careful as you start to transplant them and pot them on. So I'm going to take you through the 4 steps I use in order to pot on my tomato plants. The first thing you need to do is prepare your pots. I'm going for a 3-inch pot. I may have to pot on again before they go out into their final fruiting place, but these should be okay for the time being. So I'm going to fill these with compost and create a little hole in them ready to receive the root ball of the tomato plant that I'm transferring to it. So for this I'm just using general purpose compost. It's nothing too special. Just giving it a little bit of a press down, give it some firm compost to grow into and leaving a space to receive the tomato plant. As you can see on here I'm leaving a big space because I've got some overgrown tomato plants that I do need to transfer across, but if it was just for a small seedling, all you would do is cover it over and press in to create that little space for the seedling to go into. As you can see, my tomatoes are a little bit more grown than they should be for potting on, but if I just show you this one down here, this is sort of the ideal size for potting on into their new pots. You can see it's just got its first leaves there and it's now coming through just now with its more adult leaves. These bigger tomato plants are likely to have their root balls all knotted together, so we'll pick those up shortly. So I use this fork-like tool here to prise out the tomato plant, and this allows us to get underneath the root ball and lift it up with some of the compost still attached to it, so we try our best to avoid any damage to those roots. So I'll show you first taking out the younger plant. So just from a little bit further back I go under and then just pull it out. You can use things like pencils or other instruments as long as it's small enough and it won't cause any damage. As you can see, I've managed to take this out without damaging any of the roots. With the new pot ready, I'm just placing it into the middle, just bringing some of the new compost around the top and giving a gentle press in, give it a bit of firm soil to bed into. You can drop the tomato plant in a little bit further down in its stem. These will root from the stem, so that should be perfectly fine. Now I'm going to start taking out some of these larger plants. I expect the root balls will be all knotted together, but we shall find out. Yeah, I can feel them, they're knotted in there, so definitely going to end up causing some damage to the root balls, so you just want to be a little bit more careful as you take these out. As you can see, these two are coming out together. I can feel them pulling, and all we're going to do is just gently tease them apart, but we still have a really good amount of the root on here. So with this plant I'm just going to take one of the pots, I'm going to make a deeper hole in it. As you can see, I'm going to bury it up to sort of the middle of its stem. Give it that extra amount of stem to root from. Just give it a bit of a firm press down again. See, with these ones they're really knotted together. So just gently teasing them apart. And finally, just give them a really good water. So I now have all of my tomato plants potted on, and they'll stay in those pots until I either put them into a bigger pot or put them out into the garden where they will grow to fruit. If you enjoyed this tip, please consider subscribing and hitting the like button. Please leave a comment below, tell us about what you're doing in your garden, and I'll see you next time.